Hey, cinema community, we're here at our local AMC. Just got done seeing the movie. It ends with us. This is our extended review. Rebecca, what'd you think?
Dialogue needs work. It might translate better on the page.
I want to see you again.
Now you see me.
You know what I mean.
But if you're watching it as a movie, it feels like a meet-cute attempt.
I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure how it translated in the book, but the dialogue was choppy and awkward at points.
Speaking of choppy and awkward, I wish the camera would have stayed still. There's quiet scenes where it would behoove the camera just to stay still, to add heaviness to the moment. Even that, it's still jarring how jumpy it is.
This movie was actually pretty to look at, meaning the tones were nice.
Hey, Lily, you want to do the honors?
No, you go ahead. I need to take it in from here.
I was hoping you'd say that, okay? Oh my God.
But there were parts of it that the camera would sway back and forth, and it felt uncomfortable. Once you notice the camera starting to sway, I think the hard part was these were during really serious moments and it really interrupted the flow of the movie. It felt almost as if it wasn't tightly edited around that.
I think part of this is just being a movie, seeing that I haven't read either of the books. The action goes from 0 to 60 and there's not really much lead up. It's just romantic kissing scenes.
That first kiss.
And then something dramatic happens.
But 15 seconds. That's all it takes.
Flashback, plot exposition.
I still remember the day I saw you in the window.
Kissing scenes. Something dramatic happens.
If one day you had a daughter, what would you say to her? She came to you and said the person she loved was hurting her.
Repeat this formula throughout most of the entire movie.
This movie was over 2 hours, and I'll be honest with you, there were parts of it that really dragged on for me. It felt like, sometimes we talk about the movie 10 minutes taken off. This movie, I think a half hour could easily be shaved off and it would still make the same point.
I do appreciate the movie bringing attention to what is often a very difficult topic in cinema. That being said, it felt a bit soapy at points.
The topic of this movie was powerful. We're talking about domestic violence. We're talking about relational harm. We're talking about, did I experience what I thought I experienced? All of those were really great, and I appreciated that. However, because the movie was longer, because the dialogue was a little bit awkward, it felt like I lost some of the meaningful parts of this movie.
There are several points during this movie I had to kind of keep checking in with myself if I missed certain scenes. There's some gaps in between the characterization that you see on screen during some of the flashbacks, as well as some of the present moments where it feels like the characters are jumping in between characterization.
This movie does have some graphicness. If you've experienced this or if you're very sensitive to this, this movie may be hard to watch. You may need to look away, or you may even say, I'm not sure if I can see it. I appreciated they didn't drag those parts on, but they were really clear what was happening and how it was for the characters.
I did like some of the original score compositions. I would have loved to see more of that. But it translated from that to just needle drop after needle drop, and I kind of got bored with that. It almost feels like they used it as a substitution for dialogue that could have been used to illustrate how the characters were feeling, or just even short scenes so you can see the characters committing actions that allow you to create space for them.
The acting wasn't bad. In fact, it was pretty good at different points. One of the standout characters was one of the supporting roles, her best friend. I liked her. There were some comedic elements around that.
As hard as this choice is, we break the pattern. Or the pattern breaks us.
If you've experienced something like this, something powerful in your family, maybe something that you grew up around, I love the message. It ends with us. That means you can stop at any point. You can change your family tree. You can change your history. That's a great message for all of us to remember.
I agree with Teresa. It's a pretty powerful message to say it's never too late to walk away from a situation like this.
Rebecca, what do you think? Is it worth a watch?
I think it's worth a watch if you've read the book, or you're curious about how would this look like in a relationship. That being said, I think this is a skip it and wait for streaming kind of movie.
I actually like the movie more than I thought I would, but at the same time, I don't know if I would run out and see it. That being said, our theater was packed, and it looks like it's going to do pretty well at the theater. So I think they definitely have their target audience for this movie.
This has been our extended review. Now we want to hear from you in the comments. If you've read the book, how does the movie compare to the book? If you want to see some of our other extended reviews, click the links to the right.